What we got next, man? DPOY?
DPOY, I guess. Yeah.
Devin, you go ahead, go first. You haven't went first on any of these yet.
Okay. Rudy first. No.
Nah, you tripping, man. Blowing all these leads, man.
Not in my top 3.
I do have Rudy in my top 3, but he is not first. I do have him at
all these leads.
I do have him at number 3.
Okay.
He does get a lot more discredit than what he deserves. There's definitely a case for him being limited in many defensive situations, but he plays around a poor defensive team as a whole. And the way the narrative is with Rudy is that we see in the general media a lot more of the negative things of Rudy Gobert than the positives.
Yes.
And so ultimately, Rudy does get a little bit more disrespect and a lot less credit than he sometimes deserves. Does he have limitations on defense at times? Certainly, but he's the best rim protector in the league for a reason. Does he have limitations outside of that level of rim protection? Certainly, but no one quite has that level of ability at the rim that he has. And this Utah team would not be anywhere near where they are without him. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they're not even a play-in team, or at least they're a low-end play-in team in and around the 8 to 10 seed. So his impact is quite large on this team. Limited, sure, but he deserves his credit. But then my top 2 wasn't really too much of a debate of them being top 2. It was just what order I was putting them in. I went with Jared Jackson Jr. at number 2. Okay. His impact for the Grizzlies has been extremely good this year. I'd argue maybe not quite to a level extent, but not far off that him out of the lineup is close to, if not as impactful of Ja being out of the lineup for this Memphis team, just due to how much value he brings to them on the defensive end. The few games he has missed this year, which to his credit, he has been very available this year compared to his previous seasons. This defense doesn't look anywhere near as good without him. He's one of those few players in the league that has elite rim protection, but also has very good mobility, can switch out on the perimeter, can guard pick and rolls quite well with his ability to defend in space. But ultimately, I did give Giannis the nod at number 1. He just does that level of defense with that level of length and athleticism that Jaren Jackson Jr. has at a slightly higher level, with slightly more NBA experience and NBA knowledge on the defensive end. Giannis just brings it every night. He's one of those superstars that he's not coasting during the regular season. He's not taking games easy. He's there night in, night out. The one criticism, of course, for Giannis is always he's not necessarily defending the best player on the opposing team, specifically at times in the regular season. But he's able to impact in so many other ways when you're talking about help defense, protecting the rim, jumping in on steals, being able to read the entire offense and make call outs and reads from there. His defensive impact is so great with his athleticism and his defensive skill. He had to be my number 1 again this year.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. I think this is another award where it's like you could have maybe 3 or 4 names that honestly deserve this award. So the fact you have Giannis, I'm not mad at it at all. You want to go, Gabe, or
no? I think you should go. I think you should go.
All right. I will let it be known Rudy did not make my top 3. And I also don't have Giannis in my top 3 either.
And now is that okay?
I don't know.
This is the biggest discrepancy we've had.
Probably. My only thing with Giannis, obviously, we know how amazing of a defender he is, especially help defense. But the Bucks defense hasn't been as great this year as in past years. I know some of that's due to, they lost PJ in the offseason. Brook Lopez missed the majority of the season too. But, they still have some quality NBA defenders on that team. And they took a step back. And I'm holding that against Giannis just a little bit. And you made a great case for Rudy on why he's one of the best rim protectors of all time, obviously. But I'm honestly just fatigued of seeing him win this award. So I don't got him top 3. And the Jazz have not been as potent as a defense as they have been in previous years. My number 3 is Bam. Bam is a staple for this Miami Heat team, man. He can legit guard 1 through 5 any given night. Super impactful defender. I don't really think he gets enough credit for what he does on the defensive side of the floor. If he didn't miss a nice chunk of the season, he would probably have a case for me to win this award outright. But I got him number 3. Number 2, same as you, Devin. I got Jaren Jackson Jr. I remember there was a game. It was against the Knicks. Man's had blocks on like 3 straight possessions, bro.
The game
Like
was
he
crazy.
single-handedly won that game, bro. And that's just like etched in my memory. And he's been one of the best shot blockers all year long. Another guy that can guard multiple positions, very good. And like you said, the fact that he's been able to play a lot of games this season, that's been the biggest knock on him so far. And he's showing how impactful he is, especially on the defensive side of the floor. And this might be a homer pick, and I don't care. It's either Marcus Smart or it's Robert Williams. It's one of the two. I'm going to go with Smart since Rob Will has missed the last few weeks with his injury. But either way, both of those guys super impactful for the best defense in basketball. I think that's a big part of it. And Smart's probably not going to win it because the advanced analytics and stuff they favor bigs a lot more. But, man, the other night against the Bucks, he was guarding Giannis down the stretch, and he was making plays and almost gave the Celtics a chance to win that game. And when Rob Will was on the court, man, he was really the quarterback of this defense, just making a lot of different plays. His rim protection is just superior, man. I think one of those two guys, in my eyes, they should win this award. But like I said, you can't go wrong with Giannis. You can't go wrong with Jaren. If you got Bam, I'm not mad at that either. This is still a wide open race at the end of the day.
Well, this is fun. I would say you guys have talked about what, like 5 different players up to this point?
I think
5
so,
legit
yeah.
candidates.
And I still got a guy that's not on either of you guys' list. I will say, in this era of play, I think being a versatile defender is the most important thing. I think being able to guard multiple positions when you're guarding pick and rolls, guarding switches, everything like that, you know. That being said, the guy I had to put at third because I have to give him his respect is Mikal Bridges, man. This dude is just so crazy to watch play defense. He might be the best on-ball defender in the league. As it's just all the things he can do, it just feels like he can be anywhere and everywhere. Now, he does have other good defensive pieces around him, so it doesn't look like the defensive carry job of a lot of other guys. But just the eye test just, oh my goodness. It is – I can't even really put it into words. It's just like when you got arms that long, it's crazy. But then number 2, I had to put Giannis out of respect. The man, I feel like he just kind of does it all for the Bucks at this point defensively. I shouldn't say it all because they still have Drew Holiday and a couple other pieces, but just so much. We know what he can do. Obviously, he won it last year. And the defense as a whole has been worse, but I feel like he still does his job really well, especially with the offensive load he's given. The fact that he can be a two-way player to that degree, incredibly impressive. I also, before I list my number 1, I wanted to give a shout-out to Jared Allen because –
Yes.
he was so nice defensively. Cavs were like a top 5 defense, I think, in 4th for a lot of the season. He went out, team fell far. And a lot of people said, oh, I mean, it's not just him. You know, he has Evan Mobley right next to him, another great defender. Defense still fell off pretty significantly after Jared left. So his importance cannot be understated. But my number 1 is Jaren Jackson, man. I think it shows he was the only common factor between both of your guys' lists, which shows, I mean, he obviously has a case no matter who you talk to. And it's just like, this team has been a great defense. And not only has he been the best defender on this team, for a quarter of the season, he's been the best player on the second team and like second best team in the league, doing that specifically through his defense. Like with him as the best player, this team is literally like, what, they've lost 2 games?
Yeah.
I think that's very, very deserving of recognition. And so I think, given all that, I just had to give him this award. I think it's his time. It'll always be fun to see a new guy win it. Jaren Jackson, man, I don't know what else you can say. Both of you guys already kind of said enough.
Yeah, no, 100%. His leap defensively and quality defensively as a whole this year has been very impressive. And as you mentioned, Gabe, shout out to Jared Allen. Him not getting injured and Bam being healthy earlier on in the year would have completely changed how this award went. They're both fully deserving of their defensive respect and how much they've impacted their team's defenses this year. But yeah, Jaren Jackson, I mean, like, he's still so young. There's probably still just more improved defense to come from him moving forward. He's going to be a special talent. The duo of him and Jaw moving forward is going to be so dangerous.
Those Michigan State power forwards, man.
It's not even defensively for him, man. His offensive game is still taking strides too. He's low key like a big guard. Like he makes plays off the dribble pretty well for somebody that's like 6'11", and he keeps getting taller every year, which is crazy. But yeah, super talent.